आ जाओ।
Thank you.
You feel comfortable?
Yes, sir, I do.
When is your final interview?
Sir,
Otherwise,
18th November.
18th. So you have got plenty of time. What is your date of birth?
So 23rd November 1995.
23rd,
November
1995.
1995. Yes, sir.
So we are 4 people. Joint interview karenge. You can speak for yourself. Tell us something about yourself, please.
Okay, sir, I will start off with my introduction. So as you already know my name is Izza. I would shortly define myself as a responsible daughter, a thorough professional, and a compassionate human. Regarding my birthplace, I was born in Rawalpindi and I was born and bred here. After completing my intermediate exam in 2012 by securing 6th position overall in Federal Board, I started my engineering from NAST. I completed my engineering in 2016, and immediately after that, I appeared for CSS. I cleared my CSS in 2017 and joined the office management group. I was the youngest person in my batch and the first one in my family. In 2019, I got my first posting in Industries and Production Division as section officer responsible for medium enterprises development. Other than my professional services, I like to travel and I like to hike specifically, which is more like a therapy. That's all about myself.
So you are working in the Ministry of Industries.
Yes, sir.
So what was your score in your last competitive examination?
Sir, my written score was 605.
605.
Yes, and my interview score was 192.
192.
Yes, sir.
So are you current with the current affairs?
I hope so.
What is the latest? Why the Saudis has given $3 billion yesterday?
Sir, I believe that Pakistan was talking with the IMF for retrenchment fund of the latest loan that we took. It was $6 billion, but we were not getting it, and there were negotiations going on. So Saudi Arabia has helped us out in this difficult time and given us $3 billion.
Why they are so generous?
Sir, I believe that we have good relations with the Saudis, and we have helped them out previously, and also because we import.
Where we have helped?
Sir, we have previously taken imports from them regarding energy resources. So they have their national interest in this as well, because a lot of their import of oil and gas comes from Pakistan. So I believe that in that sense they have seen it as a mutual interest.
What is the update of IMF?
Sir, the update of IMF, I believe, is that we were negotiating for the release of $3 billion, which we haven't got yet, because IMF, there are certain conditions of IMF which they are wary about. They want us to increase our tax to GDP ratio. They want to increase energy and gas tariffs, and there are other conditions as well which they think that we should be fulfilling.
Where is your finance minister, advisor now, Mr. Shaukat Tareen? He is here or he is in Washington?
Sir, I think that yes, he has gone to Washington for negotiating with the IMF.
He's back or not?
No, sir, I don't think that he's back.
The Prime Minister is back or still he is in Saudi Arabia?
No, sir, he's back.
He's back.
Yes, sir.
You have done your electronics.
Yes, sir.
And nowadays social media is very popular. What do you think? What are its fallout for the society, positive and negative? Both you explain.
Sir, for the positive side, I think that social media has provided people to exercise their freedom of speech, first of all. Secondly, it has given people the right to speak about the negatives in the society. For example, we saw in 2020 the case regarding Black Lives Matter, in which George Floyd was killed, I believe, and then there was a huge debate on social media, and action was taken because of it. However, there are negatives of social media as well. The first negative is that due to excessive use of social media, there comes this hate speech kind of thing, hate speech and that extremism, because people have a platform where they can express themselves very openly and without any restraints. So there is this thing of hate speech. For example, we have seen the recent sit-ins of the banned organization, which did some protests in past as well. So I think that in that term, social media generates a lot of hate speech. Secondly, due to lack of awareness and lack of regulations, the use of social media becomes toxic for people. And thirdly, because of social media, the right to privacy of people has reduced to some extent. In the past, we saw the case in the US of Facebook's founder Mark Zuckerberg, where it was alleged, and the case was tried in Senate of the US, I think, as well, that some of the data of the Facebook was used based on artificial intelligence, and it was used against the right to privacy of people. So I think that there are both negatives and positives, but we need to come up with prudential regulations to regulate the use of social media and create awareness among people to use it in the right way.
How do you see the role of artificial intelligence in industries?
Sir, I think that the future belongs to artificial intelligence, starting from the machinery point of view. In artificial intelligence has a huge role to play. Machinery nowadays has become very advanced, and the role of artificial intelligence in manufacturing machineries and other things is increasing. Other than that, industrial policies can be made in such a way that using artificial intelligence, projections can be made as to which suggestion or which policy intervention would have how much impact. So I think that from industrial point of view, artificial intelligence has a lot of role to play in the future.
If you are the advisor to the Prime Minister of Pakistan and the current political scenario, current economic scenario, what you will advise him?
Sir, I would advise him to first of all come up with policies which are such that our trade deficit is reduced. That is, we need to up our exports and lower down our imports. Our trade deficit is currently at around $30 billion, which is huge. And that is because our export sector is very narrow and import sector is huge. So for the long-term perspective, I would suggest that the trade deficit should be removed in such a way that imports are lowered and export base is made diverse. Secondly, as a short-term measure, I would suggest to keeping in mind the current economic situation, I would suggest to control inflation by providing subsidies to the poor class and keeping a monitoring and evaluation mechanism of those subsidies so that we know that those subsidies are actually provided to the people who deserve them.
What are your views about the private, energy sector, especially WAPDA? Because they are the supplier of electricity. Do you think they are functioning well?
Sir, I do not know much about this topic, but I do know this, that there are a lot of transmission losses because of that. And secondly, there are a lot of people distribution losses, yes. And secondly, there is electricity theft, which goes uncontrolled. No regulatory authority controls it. And thirdly, a lot of people do not pay their bills, and there is no mechanism to check them. So I believe that these are some of the issues that
would you like to recommend to the Prime Minister to privatize it, and why they are not doing it?
Sir, I think that first of all, there is this lack of funds where
privatize karne mein kya hai? Just give it to somebody who wants to run it.
Sir, but I think that there should be some government regulation in that, and I think that even with this model, with government being in control, we can revive WAPDA, but there should be some structural changes, including increasing the monitoring and evaluation mechanism. And because we have laws, we have the correct laws, but the means of implementing those laws is not present. So I think that government should be such that the mechanism of monitoring and looking if electricity theft is being committed or not, or if people are paying the bills or not, should be made more prudent.
Thank you.
PAS is your first choice.
Yes, sir.
So, as a PAS officer, what functions do you think you will have to perform?
Sir, very shortly, if I'm inducted as a BS-17 officer, as an AC, I would be the representative of provincial government for the local people. Broadly, I would be performing functions like controlling the price, controlling the social sector, regulating it, and supervising the local government departments whether they are working or not. And there is also a role related to that land revenue related things.
What is Patwari culture?
Sir, I am not able to I would not be able to give a very good opinion on that because I'm that side of me. I haven't prepared that as of yet, but I would prepare that.
Just make a guess what Patwari culture.
It's related to land revenue, where I think they give land to people, and they define the boundaries of a specific land to the people that they give, and which land is to be left for the government, or for example.
That is the working of the Patwaris. But what is Patwari culture?
Sir, it's corruption, widespread corruption, bribery.
Okay. How America is trying to counter the economic supremacy of China at the global level?
So first of all, after the Trump took charge in 2018, a very vigorous trade war started, whereby Trump put a lot of trade tariffs on China. The trade war remained there for around 2019, where US kept increasing the import tariffs. Secondly, US announced its national defense strategy and national security strategy in 2017, in which it openly declared to contain China. Thirdly,
what is that policy?
Sir, I'm coming to that. Through that policy, US has allied with India, Australia, and Japan in the Indo-Pacific region in order to counter China. And the manifestation of this is clear through the quadrilateral dialogue, which is between India, US, Japan, and Australia. And now we have seen the latest manifestation of this is AUKUS, which is a trilateral strategy between the US, Australia, and the UK. Through this strategy, US is going to supply nuclear power. US is going to supply their research technology on nuclear-powered submarines to the Australia in order to counter China, because these submarines can stay underwater for up to 5 long months. So in this way, US has latest tried to contain China.
So it is all strategic related to defense, security. But on the economic front, what has America announced to counter China? America has announced a specific, policy in that regard, which is like the Marshall Plan after the Second World War.
Sir, I am not sure about this.
What is the status of National Action Plan?
So, National Action Plan was initiated in 2014 after the APS attacks, and Operation Zarb-e-Azab was launched after that. Military courts were established. Then, through National Action Plan, FATA was merged with KP. And currently, I'm not sure what the status is of National Action Plan.
Of how many points was this plan?
It was a 10 or 20 point. 20 point.
20 point. One of the point was the sleeper cells, removal of the sleeper cells. What do you mean by that?
Sir, I don't know. I'm not sure.
What about the madrasa, mainstreaming of madrasas? Has action been taken? Has that been completed or not?
Yes, sir. It was a part of the National Action Plan, and some reforms have been taken out for that. One of which was that there were some madrasas that were highlighted and they were pointed out to include them in the madrasa reforms and mainstream them with other.
Has that happened or not? Taken it?
So not in letter and spirit.
How will you explain environmental degradation?
So environmental degradation is the gradual decay of the environment, the things around our environment, which include water, which includes the general climate change, includes global warming, and also includes the living things, that is the biodiversity, the decline of diversity among living species. So that is environmental degradation.
Who is Greta Thunberg?
So she is an environmental activist from Sweden, I think, and she has addressed the UN Assembly as well. She has been actively advocating for decreasing the climate change and taking steps to decrease it. I think she held some protest around. She is holding some protests in world schools, or I'm not sure what she actually did or what she is actually doing.
Yes, she's protesting in the schools, collecting the students, And where is the climate conference going on right now?
Sir, it's in Glasgow.
So why the Prime Minister, Mr. Johnson, why he expressed his, fears that the conference will not yield the desired results? What's wrong with him, and why has he said that?
Sir, I think it is because the world climate is continuously increasing, and after the COP15 or the Paris Agreement, whereby it was agreed that the world leaders will take action to limit the world temperature to 1.5 degrees centigrade, but the statistics say that the current activities going on in the world are such that the temperature increase will be 2.7 degrees centigrade. So I think that he is wary about the implementation of Kyoto Protocol in particular, and implementation of the actions to be decided during the COP26.
Paris Agreement.
Paris Agreement, yes, Paris Agreement.
Paris Agreement. The action which these Western countries developed, they were required to take. They have not. They are, holding their grounds, and they are going all out for the implementation. And finally, how will you promote the commercial interest of Pakistan when you are posted abroad?
Sir, I will promote commercial interest of Pakistan by, first of all, portraying a soft image of Pakistan, because that is the most important, because any investment in the country will happen if there is a soft image of Pakistan portrayed abroad. Secondly,
what will be that in specific terms?
Sir, I would raise sessions and awareness campaigns whereby I would highlight the tourism sector of Pakistan, and then even the climate action that Pakistan has taken, which I think that Pakistan has achieved the SDG 13 10 years prior to actual commitment. So I would do that. Secondly, I would formulate, or I would work with the Commerce Ministry in order to come up with proposals to increase the export base and to add value to the export base, which is not present right now. Furthermore, I would take actions in order to also, like, for example, the football of Sialkot that we export. Now, when it goes abroad, the trademark which is given, or the label of Pakistan, is not shown there. So I would do diplomacy in order to show that the trademark should be changed to Pakistan, so that people know that Pakistan does export a lot of good things as well.
You have written your weakness, not diet conscious.
Yes, sir.
But looking at you, it shows that this is not supported.
Sir, I said it in a way that I do not follow a balanced diet. I mean, I eat junk food a lot, and I do not eat a lot of nutrients and proteins and vitamins. So in that sense, and I may look fine, but in actual, my health is not that good in terms of balanced diet.
Izza, you want to change your service to PAS or foreign service. What do you think is expected of a foreign service officer?
Sir, ma'am, a foreign service officer is expected to portray a positive image of Pakistan and work for the national interest of Pakistan. He or she is supposed to be a diplomat, portraying an image of Pakistan which not only attracts foreign investment and and do good in terms of economy, but also portray a good image of Pakistan in terms of culture, in terms of the heritage that we have here. So I think that foreign service officer is expected of this.
Okay. Now, how can you change the image of Pakistan if on the social media people can see what's happening inside Pakistan? So when you are saying something, people will just show you all the Twitters and all the videos that are on the social media, which are totally in contrast to what you are saying.
Ma'am, first of all, I believe that the videos or the things that we see on social media is a platform in which everybody can see everything. I mean, we see crimes on social media being committed by first world states as well, because social media has given the access. So I think that I think that social media has given an access where everyone can see everything. But we have to project an image where we show that Pakistan is not just about that. Pakistan is about other things as well. Pakistan is about a positive culture. Pakistan is about making women or empowering women. So I think in that sense, I would do it, and I would also raise awareness sessions amongst the young generation as well, because they need to know that we have to collectively improve the image of Pakistan and not show the things that are just a part or a negative part of our society.
Do you know anything about hybrid warfare?
Yes, ma'am. Hybrid warfare is a technique of warfare through social media and through 21st century toolset, which India uses against Pakistan at times.
So, what's happening in Kashmir?
Ma'am, in 2019, in August 2019, after the current PM of India abrogated the Article 370 and 335A, there was a curfew in Kashmir and their basic rights have been declined. Through that article, there was a ban on Indian settlers to come and occupy Kashmir, but through abrogation of this article, that ban has been finished. So Kashmir is suffering a lot because people are fighting against the Indian atrocities, but India is continuously committing atrocities, including the use of pellet guns, using kidnapping people, and doing such things.
Thank you very much, Izza.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Well, Izza, after becoming the master of India, British government brought a change in the political system of India and they introduced representative institutions. Can you explain this?
Sir, I think they introduced some form of local governments, whereby they introduced the revenue administration, and they divided India in some forms of union councils and tehsil councils, I think. And they also introduced civil service. They also introduced civil service, which is a form of administration, and they through that service they administrated the local people.
Okay, in the Nehru report that political parties of India made unanimous approach toward तो उस नेहरू रिपोर्ट में कायदे आज़म ने 3 amendment propose की थी. Did you know those amendment कि after those amendment हम भी नेहरू report के साथ we are confined?
Sir, I think that the first one was that through the Nehru report, it was delineated that India would be a unitary state. So and residuary powers will be rested with the center, but Quaid-e-Azam asked to shift residuary powers to the provinces. Secondly, I think in the Nehru report, it was like making reforms in NWFP and Balochistan, provided that they afford it. But I think that Quaid-e-Azam removed that condition, and he introduced the reforms in he asked for reforms in NWFP and Balochistan without the condition of them affording it. And the third one I cannot recall.
Okay, in 1945, Lord Wavell presented a Wavell plan. It was a failure. What were the reason or causes behind the failure of Wavell plan?
Sir, I think that through this plan, there was this proposal that a executive council will be formed, which will be representative of all the communities of India. In that council, it was initially proposed that 5 members will be from Indians, from Congress, 5 members will be from the Muslim League, and 1 from the Sikh side and 1 from the Christian side. But Congress refused to accept it, and they said that there should be 2 members, seats of Muslim League should be reduced, and there should be 2 members from the Unionist Party. So I believe that Quaid-e-Azam refused to accept it, so it was a failure.
That's fine. Okay, Bulle Shah is considered as a rebel poet in Punjabi. कोई इसकी ऐसी poetry, कोई ऐसा शेर आप सुना सकती हैं जो that indicates कि he was a rebel? आपने पंजाबी पढ़ी?
जी sir. Sir, I do not know what rebel means actually. If you provide me with the synonym of rebel.
बुल्ला पी शराब खा कबाब हेट.
Yes, he was against the Islamic Shariat, or he was more like into Sufism, and his poetry was there were symbols which indicated that he's against Islamic principles and he is not a Muslim. But in fact they were more of Ishq-e Hakiki and وحدت الوجود and عشق حقیقی. One of the couplet, if you allow me, was that مسجد ڈھا دے مندر ڈھا دے جو کچھ ڈھہندا, ایک لوکاں دا دل نہ ڈھہوے, رب دلاں وچ رہندا.
اوکے, شاہ حسین کا اور بلے شاہ کی جو پوئٹک ڈفرینسز بھی تھے کچھ, مطلب ان کی پوئٹری میں جو فلسفی ہے ان کا ڈفرینس تھا کچھ؟
Sir, philosophy was, I think, same. It was Sufism, but Shah Hussein's poetry was more rigid, and it was more about caring about the day of judgment. And he used symbols like Tana Bana, and he used different symbols. Bulle Shah, on the opposite, was more about morality and human rights and being good with others and humility. It was more like that.
He was more humanistic.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Let's conclude this formal interview. Let's have an informal discussion. اس دفعہ کیسی پریپریشن آپ کے ریٹن کی کیسے تھی؟
سر ریٹن مجھے لگتا ہے کہ میرے 2017 سے بہتر ہوئے ہیں, مگر گیون کے مارکس اس دفعہ اچھے نہیں آ رہے.
کس نے کہا؟
سر لوگ کہہ رہے ہیں کہ میرے ہیں بھی کرمنالوجی ہے, انوائرمنٹل سائنس ہے, اور میں نے رکھا تھا کہ میرے اچھے مارکس آئیں گے, لیکن لوگ کہہ رہے ہیں کہ
آپ کیسے کہہ سکتے ہیں بغیر مارکس؟ ناؤ یو آر ان دا گورنمنٹ, یو آر اے ورکنگ ایز اے گورنمنٹ, پورے سیکشن کو سنبھالا ہوا ہے آپ نے, فیکٹس اینڈ فگر پہ بات کرتے ہیں نا, ایویڈنس بیسڈ آپ کی ڈسکشن ہونی چاہیے. آپ فرض کر رہی ہیں ایسے ہی ادھر ادھر سے سن کے.
سر اس طرح میرے اچھے ہوئے تھے پیپرز ایز کمپیئر ٹو 2000.
پیپر کیسے کیے پچھلے سال, اس سے پہلے اور اس کی نسبت؟
سر اس دفعہ ایک تو میں نے مارکس دیے تھے تو میں نے بہت اسٹرکچرڈ لائک کیے ہیں, اور مطلب لائک جو جس طرح سے تھوڑا پیپر پیٹرن فالو کر کے دیا تھا, اور پہلی دفعہ کیونکہ لائک بالکل فرسٹ اٹیمپٹ تھی اور اسی ٹائم پہ یونیورسٹی کے بعد دیے تھے, تو اتنا زیادہ آئیڈیا نہیں تھا. آبجیکٹیوز جیسے اس دفعہ میں نے فوکس کیے ہیں, تو کافی سارے لائک کافی سبجیکٹس میں آبجیکٹیوز میں میرے مجھے لگ رہا ہے کہ انشاءاللہ اچھے مارکس ہوں گے
انشاءاللہ. ہمارے لیے تو یہ اچھی خبریں ہیں. یو ہیو گاٹ اے ماشاء اللہ گڈ پرسنالٹی, پلیزنٹ پرسنالٹی ہے آپ کی کمیونیکیشن اسکلز آر ویری گڈ, انٹیلیجنٹ ہیں آپ, باڈی لینگویج آپ کی بھی ٹھیک ہے, پوسچر بھی آپ کا ٹھیک ہے, کانفیڈنٹ ہیں آپ, نالج بیس کافی بہتر ہے, بٹ نیڈس مور امپرومنٹ. باقی جو ہے نا وہ ایک ہوتی ہے نا اسٹیٹ آف پریپیئرڈنیس, اس میں آ جائیں. ابھی آپ کے پاس 2-3 ہفتے ہیں, یو گیٹ بیک ٹو دا نیوز پیپر, پچھلے 3 مہینے کے آگے والے سارے ایک دفعہ ریویو کرو, اس میں سے یو نو واٹ یو نیڈ ٹو فائنڈ آؤٹ. نیشنل ایشوز ہیں, انٹرنیشنل ایشوز ہیں, ان کو فوکس کرو, اور پھر تھوڑا سا آپ کا جواب جو ہے نا فوکسڈ ہو, اسٹرکچرڈ ہو, فوکسڈ ہو. تو اس کے لیے آئی ول ایڈوائز یو کہ بھائی اس قسم کی ایک ڈائری بناؤ, ٹھیک ہے نا, اور یہ ایک پیج پہ ہیڈنگ بناؤ, انرجی سیکٹر, 1 2 3 4 بلٹس, 4-5 بلٹ سارا کر کے بنا لو, بس ختم. پھر وین یو ریپلائی کمپلیٹلی, تمہیں پتہ ہوگا نا میں نے 4-5 بلٹ کور کرنی ہے.
ٹھیک ہے.
انڈسٹریل سیکٹر, واٹر ایشوز, وابڈا ایشوز, ڈیٹ سروسنگ, اکانومی ایشوز. دیکھو نا اکانومی کے ایشوز پہ اگر بات ہو تو آدمی سوچ سکتا ہے کہ یار جی ڈی پی ہے, انفلیشن ہے, ان امپلائمنٹ ہے, تھنگز لائک دیٹ.
ٹھیک ہے سر.
ایگریکلچر سیکٹر کو بھی اسی طرح ڈیل کر سکتے ہیں.
ٹھیک ہے
تو
سر.
دین یو ول بی فوکسڈ.
ٹھیک ہے سر.
ابھی آپ کو یو ہیو گاٹ نالج, لیکن آپ ادھر ادھر
اسٹرکچر نہیں تھا. ٹھیک ہے.
اسٹرکچر نہیں کر سکتے. ٹھیک ہے نا.
ٹھیک ہے.
بس وہ اسٹیٹ آف پریپیئر, انرجی, آپ کی انرجی لیول ٹھیک ہے. کنٹرول یہ کرنا ہے کہ جب بولے تھوڑا سا پاس دے.
جی سر, یہ مجھے نا یہ ہے میرا مسئلہ کہ مجھے
کوئی بات نہیں, آپ اس کے لیے آپ میرر پریکٹس کریں. آپ شیشے کے سامنے کھڑے ہو کے اخبار اٹھا لے, اس کو پڑھو, 1 دفعہ 2 دفعہ 10 دفعہ پڑھو گے تو سمجھ آ جائے گی کہ میں نے کیا کیا ہے. اور انٹروڈکشن 1 پیجر تیار کرو.
ٹھیک ہے سر.
ٹھیک ہے نا. جو سی وی ہوتا ہے نا,
جی سر,
اس کا فارمیٹ, اسی فارمیٹ کو ان ویو رکھ کے اسی میں اپنا پہلے فل کرتی جائے. فل کرنے کے بعد جو ہے نا پھر اس کی کانٹ چھان کر کے 1 منٹ کا بنا لے.
ٹھیک ہے.
دین جو وہ بار بار پڑھے تو دین یو ول بی مور کلیئر. ٹھیک ہے, یو ول فائن انشاءاللہ یو ول میک ویری گڈ مارکس.
Izza beta, I have a few pieces of suggestions. پہلے تو یہ کہ you have a very pleasant personality. You're a smart girl. لیکن اب جب آپ دیری ہوتی ہیں تو لگتا ہے کہ جیسے ٹرین چھٹی ہوئی ہے. You have to give pauses, جیسے رانی صاحب نے کہا. And you are interacting with the other person. But here you're just, it's जैसे रटा पड़ा हुआ है वही सुना रही हो, हालांकि तुम रटा नहीं सुना रही. You're giving your views, but it's in a dispassionate way. When you're responding, you should be saying as though you're feeling what you're saying. वो नहीं लगता, वो लगता है कि बस बोले जा रही हैं. ठीक है, उस पे बेटा थोड़ा काम करना होगा. दूसरा, did you do any self-analysis of why you didn't get the requisite marks when you did your last exam?
मैम असल में पिछली दफ़ा मेरे इंटरव्यू में ज़्यादा थे और रिटन में कम थे. तो लाइक मुझे लगता है कि एक तो मुझे फास्ट लाइक बोलने का इशू है और दूसरा मुझे लगा है कि मैं स्ट्रक्चर्ड आंसर्स नहीं देती.
हाँ, आपको बिल्कुल सही लगा है. लेकिन बेटा जब आप इंटरव्यू में आते हैं ना, तो इंटरव्यू जो है इट इज़ बेसिकली प्रेजेंटिंग योरसेल्फ. एंड व्हेन यू प्रेजेंटिंग योरसेल्फ, इट डिपेंड्स ऑन व्हाट यू आर प्रेजेंटिंग योरसेल्फ फॉर. If you're presenting yourself for a government service, and particularly foreign service, dress code is very important. क्योंकि इंटरनेशनली भी हर फंक्शन में आप देखिए, कोई इनविटेशन भी होती है ना, तो उसमें नीचे ड्रेस कोड लिखा होता है, मेन के लिए भी विमेन के लिए, बिकॉज ड्रेस कोड इज इम्पेरेटिव. तो इंटरव्यू के लिए जब जाओ तो वेयर अ न्यूट्रल कलर.
ठीक है मैम.
डोंट बी मल्टी कलर्ड. ठीक है, अब आपके स्कार्फ का कलर बहुत अच्छा है, उसमें चाहे आप बेज पूरा सूट पहन लो या आप मोव पूरा पहन लो, लेकिन एक यूनिफॉर्म कलर हो और उसी के साथ पे, बिकॉज यू आर मेकिंग अ स्टेटमेंट, योर ड्रेस इज योर स्टेटमेंट. और दूसरा ये कि अपना जो नॉलेज गैप है उसको भी फिलअप करो. यू नो योर weaknesses, we don't have to tell you that.
ठीक है मैम.
Otherwise, I'm confident you'll do very well.
थैंक यू सो मच मैम.
Thank you.
वेल आपकी कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स बहुत अच्छी हैं, यू आर कॉन्फिडेंट. आप जब क्वेश्चंस का आंसर कर रही हैं, अगर आपको पॉइंट्स में नहीं भी आता ना, तो एक जनरल अंडरस्टैंडिंग के तौर पर आप एक जो है जनरल उसको जनरलाइज कर लें. आप मतलब आपने जो 3 प्रपोज सजेशंस थी वो